We are your official Wildcat and Ladycat station, KSST 1230 AM Sulphur Springs. Time for Wildcat basketball regional final from Garland, Texas. Covering tonight's game is KSST Sports Director Don Julian. Don?
Well, James Terry, thank you very much and welcome everyone into the Curtis Colwell Center in Garland. And we've got the regional final, the Frisco Lone Star Rangers and the Wildcats of Sulphur Springs. Wildcats number 4 ranked in the state, 28-8 for the season. Let's check down with the PA announcer now.
Listen to the following instructions. Please take time to notice where the exits are and which exit location is closest to you. Our attendants will be stationed in each section. In the event of an emergency, please remain calm and look for the nearest attendant or security officer for exit instructions. People in rows A through F will exit via the arena floor through the doors located under the video board. People in rows G through Z will exit via the upper concourse by exiting the arena at the top of the section. Ushers and attendants will be stationed at the top of each section for further instructions to the nearest exit. If at any time while you are here you need assistance, please ask your nearest attendant. Again, welcome to the Curtis Colwell Center.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Curtis Colwell Center for the Class 5A Region 2 Championship game. Today's game will feature the Sulphur Springs Wildcats. And the Rangers of Frisco Lone Star High School. These Wildcats into today's game with a record of 29 wins and 8 losses. The Wildcats defeated the Highland Park Scots last night by the score of 51-46 to reach today's championship game. The Rangers of Frisco Lone Star, led by head coach Keith Cooper, entered today's game with a record of 26 wins and 10 losses. Lone Star reached today's championship game by defeating Lancaster High School last night by the score of 60-56. We ask that you please rise and remove your hats as we honor our nation with the presentation of our national anthem.
Now the starting lineups.
And now here are the starting lineups for today's Class 5A Region 2 Championship game. First, the Rangers of Frisco Lone Star High School. Playing guard is 6'2" junior number 1, Julian Larry. Playing guard is 6'1" junior number 2, Marvin Pence. Playing guard is 6'6" senior number 4, Isaiah Lewis. Playing guard is 6'3" senior number 41, Owen Williams. And playing forward is 6'5" junior number 25, Zaire Brock. Head coach of the Rangers is Keith Cooper. Assistants are Ryan Martin, Nick Dowler, and Jared Hawkins. And now the starting lineup for the Wildcats of Sulphur Springs High School. Playing forward is 6'5" junior number 0, Sergey Hall. Playing guard is 6'2" senior number 2, Jeremiah Nolan.
And just about ready to tip off here for the Rangers of Frisco Lone Star. Again, Julian Larry, Marvin Mims, Isaiah Lewis, Malik Williams, and Zaire Brock. For the Wildcats, Adrian Day Hall, Jeremiah Rowland, Cameron Kahn, Keyston Willis, and Xavier Cork. Again, the Wildcats beating Highland Park last night 51-46. And the Rangers in a thriller. We're playing Cinderella tonight as they beat number 1 ranked Lancaster. The score is 60-56. A wild ball game with a lot of lead changes and scoring spurts. Xavier Cork gets ready to jump center against Zaire Brock, who's 6'5" junior, so Cork has about 4 inches on him. The official's checking now, and he enters with the ball, and he'll be tossing it up between Cork and Brock. Ball in the air, controlled by the Wildcats. They hand off to Keyston Willis, who's still in the backcourt right now, and Keyston across the midline for the Wildcats. Just underway here from the Curtis Colwell Center in Garland. Now Willis headed to the basket, lost control, had to pick it up, shoots it out to Cork, goes around to Hall, and he gives to Cameron Kahn, who drives in, and they call Kahn for a travel. So the Wildcats open on offense with a turnover. And here come the Rangers. Frisco Lone Star played them last year, beat them 58-41. That game was at Princeton. And here come the Rangers. Lewis outside, works the ball over to Williams and to Larry. He's their top assist man. And passes out again to Isaiah Lewis. Lone Star around the perimeter right now. Williams with the ball. He'll shoot a long three. It's off, no good, and goes out of bounds off of one of the Rangers. And the ball to the Wildcats. 7:11 left here in the first quarter. Wildcats 0 and Frisco Lone Star 0. Keyston Willis in the backcourt for the Wildcats. And he'll come across the midline and hand off to Cameron Kahn. Kahn over to Day Hall. Underneath to Cork. He missed the layup, but I think he got pushed a little bit. So Cork will shoot 2, and that foul was on Zaire Brock. So Zaire Brock with his first foul, and Cork shooting a pair. See how Cork did last night. He had no free throws. Here's a first one off the front iron, no good. Bet the Butterflies are pretty large at this point, at the start of the regional final here. Cork's second shot good, got 1 out of 2. The Wildcats take a 1-0 lead, and here come the Rangers. Larry's got it. Out to Brock. Over to Julian Larry. He'll shoot a long three. It's off the iron, a tip, no good, but an offensive rebound by Lone Star. The follow shot, no good. Fight for the rebound, and Lone Star comes up with it again. Here's a short jumper, is good. Made by Isaiah Lewis, who is really hustling on the boards and beating the Wildcats on the offensive end, rebounding there. Ball in the hands of Jeremiah Rowland across the midline. Wildcats trail 2-1. He goes around a Cork screen, gives it to Day Hall at the top of the key. Right side, Keyston Willis, the long three. It's good by Keyston Willis. And the Wildcats lead 4-2. Here come the Rangers. They'll hand off to Lewis. Right side it goes to Malik Williams. Passes to Julian Larry. Over in the corner to Isaiah Lewis, the long three. That one's off, no good, but another Lone Star rebound, but taken away by Jeremiah Rowland. Rowland across the midline for the Wildcats. He stops, sends it over to Cameron Kahn for the three. It's off, no good. Day Hall fighting for the rebound, but Lone Star comes up with it, and they'll run. Player all the way down, low pass to Brock, and a whistle blows, and we had a foul down on the floor. That was Marvin Mims streaking down the court. He was the high point man for Lone Star last year, had 16 points in the ball game at Princeton. That was an area game, as I recall. Wildcats again winning 58-41. A lot of changes since then. Here's Lewis with a 10-footer. It's off, no good. Good rebound there by Jeremiah Rowland. Wildcats up 4-2. We've got 5:27 left in the first quarter. Wildcats get the ball over to Cameron Kahn. Kahn to Cork. Cork hit 2 threes pretty early in the ball game yesterday. He's dribbling now and sends it over to Day Hall. Cameron Kahn to Cork again, and he'll give to Jeremiah Rowland. Day Hall will shoot the three. It's off the front iron. Cameron Kahn had the rebound. He was knocked to the floor, and they'll say the ball did go out of bounds, but looked like he had some help falling to the floor, but no call on that. Just incidental contact, the officials say. And here come the Rangers. 5 minutes left in the first quarter. The Wildcats are up 4-2. Both teams kind of probing each other here. Not a whole lot of action. Ball back to Julian Larry outside. Left side it goes to Mims, inside to Isaiah Lewis. Lewis will fire it back outside. Julian Larry and over to Mims. Mims penetrates, puts the shot up off the glass. It's going to count, and he'll pick up a foul as well. An and one for Miller. Excuse me, for Marvin Mims. And the foul on Jeremiah Rowland, and he will have the assignment today on Mims because he is a great scorer from the guard position. Mims' free throw is good. Got the three-point play, and the Rangers lead 5-4. 4:35 left here in the first quarter. The Wildcats with the ball. Jeremiah Rowland in the backcourt. Across the midline he goes. Ball over to Day Hall. Into the corner, Keaston Willis. Willis will slash to the basket. 10-footer, no good. But Cork got the rebound and slammed it home with a big dunk for Xavier Cork. The Wildcats lead 6-5. Julian Larry back down the court. Penetrates inside. Now he's going to step back outside the arc. A good Wildcats defense got him out of there. Down low to Zaire Brock. And they're going to call the Wildcats learn from Highland Park. If you feel contact, hit the deck. And the officials are calling that offensive foul. And Zaire Brock now has 2 fouls for Frisco Lone Star. Wildcats leading 6-5, 4:05 left here in the first quarter. The ball comes into Cameron Kahn in the backcourt, gets it back over to Jeremiah Rowland. Well, yeah, we saw a lot of those Scots take those charges just like that. You feel contact, you hit the deck, and you get the call. That happened consistently last night. Jeremiah Rowland gets it over to Keaston Willis outside. Cross court it goes, and now Cameron Kahn tried to sail it in down low to Day Hall, threw the ball away. Turnover on the Wildcats. And here come the Rangers. They trail 6-5, 3:42 left here in the first quarter. Mims to Isaiah Lewis. Lewis penetrates in, got it to Mims, a long three that's off the iron, no good, but Mims got the rebound. A floater is up, it's good. They wave it off, and an offensive foul on Marvin Mims. That'll be his first. And I believe that will be, no, that's foul number 3. Boy, they got that one up there quickly. 3 fouls for the Rangers, 2 for the Wildcats. 3:30 left here in the first quarter. The Wildcats with the ball in the backcourt. They lead 6-5. Ball in the hands of Keaston Willis. Willis very slowly gets across the midline. Now looking inside, he goes Day Hall. Hall will start a dribble. Hall, a short jumper, is up and off, no good. Cork tapped it out. The ball is tapped more, but controlled by Julian Larry. And here come the Rangers. Oh, he sailed it over the head of a teammate, tried to get it to Andre Howard, and threw the ball away for the Rangers. Back to the Wildcats. 3 minutes left here in the first quarter. The Wildcats leading 6-5. Ball in the hands of Keaston Willis, the senior, headed for the Incarnate Word in San Antonio to play college basketball. Day Hall on the dribble. Throws cross court to Jeremiah Rowland. Rowland gets it to Day again outside the arc. He'll give to Willis. Willis closely guarded. Now Cork has it. Top of the key. He directs traffic and gives it over to Cameron Kahn. Kahn down low to Cork. Good grab. Cork toward the basket. Lays it up and in. And Cork will pick up a foul on one of the Rangers. So it'll be and one for Xavier Cork, who's having a great first quarter with 5 points. And a free throw coming. That foul was on Andre Howard, who came off the bench. fourth foul for the Rangers, 2 for the Wildcats. Xavier Cork, 1 out of 2 from the free throw line. This one is off the front iron, no good. So Cork 1 out of 3. Wildcats leading 8-5 here in the first quarter. 2:23 left here in the first quarter. Lewis drives in off the glass, no good. Rebound, Keyston Willis. And Willis, long pass down to Day Hall and intercepted by the Rangers. Risky pass there. And here come the Rangers. Andre Howard, he walked before he passed off. I believe that's right, or yes, a turnover, a traveling violation on Andre Howard. He's a 6-foot junior. And timeout is taken on the court here with 2:09 left here in the first quarter. The Wildcats 8 and Frisco Lone Star 5. We'll take the break with them, and we'll be back in a moment. Well, boys basketball, don't miss the UIL Boys Basketball State Tournament March 7th through the 9th at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio. Tickets are available for purchase now through Ticketmaster. For more information, visit uiltexas.org. And the Wildcats with the ball now leading 8-5, 2:07 left here in the first quarter. Jeremiah Rowland with the ball across the midline for the Wildcats in the last 2 minutes here. Stops his dribble right side to Grayson McClure now in the ball game. Day Hall has the ball outside the arc. Day on the dribble, guarded very closely. Day continues to dribble and got a 5-second violation. Wildcats plagued a little bit with the turnover bug here in the first quarter. Both teams seem a little tentative, as you would expect in a big ball game here, where they really cut loose. Marvin Mims left open for a 3, and he splashed it home for Frisco Lone Star. Mims now has 6 points, and we're tied at 8. 1:34 left here in the first quarter. Jeremiah Rowland with the ball. Gets it to Cameron Kahn. Kahn right side. Rowland will shoot the 3. That's going to be off. No good. Frisco Lone Star the rebound. And here come the Rangers. We're tied at 8. 1:20 left in the first quarter. Mims over to Julian Larry in the right corner. Isaiah Lewis. Lewis still outside the arc now, dribbling outside. Day Hall following him out there. Julian Larry over to Mims. And a new player in there for Frisco now, Tamari Jones. Now the ball to Howard. And back to Larry, drives in. Looked like Grayson McClure got a pretty good block, but an official on the backside who blew the whistle. It'll be 2 shots now, a shot on the foul. Boy, I thought that was a good block there by Grayson McClure. I disagree with that call, but my vote doesn't count. Free throws now for Julian Larry. He has not scored yet. His free throw off, no good. He had 6 points in the ball game last year. He's had at least 87 assists this season, 4.8 a game. So he is a big offensive, shooter, or a big assist man, I should say. Sorry, I was handling a phone call that came in. I have to call my brother back a little bit later. Here's Keyston Willis across the midline. Goes around a Kahn screen. Willis gets it over to Day Hall. Last 37 seconds here. The Rangers lead 9-8. Here's Cameron Kahn with a 3. Good by Cameron Kahn. His first 3. The Wildcats are up 11-9. 25 seconds left here in the first quarter. A jump shot by the Rangers is off, no good. Good rebound, Day Hall. Still 19 seconds left. Wildcats leading 11-9. Keyston Willis. Willis backs out three-point arc down low to Cameron Kahn. Bounce pass put up by Day Hall. Off the glass, no good. Fight for the rebound. Day got it. There's just 4 seconds and an offensive foul on one of the Wildcats. I think Day Hall picked it up. Boy, one of the Wildcats fans in the first row on this side not liking that call. And the boos cascade from the Sulphur Spring side on the far side. And the ball into Julian Larry, just 4 seconds left. Larry bursting down the field, or down the court, I should say. The three-pointer is no good by Tamari Jones. And the Wildcats will take an 11-9 lead into the first quarter. It's been a tight quarter here. But the Wildcats leading 11-9. And we'll take a break, and we'll be back for the start of the second quarter right after this. Ready to start the second quarter. The Wildcats are leading 11-9 here in the Curtis Colwell Center in Garland, and the ball in the hands of the Frisco Lone Star Rangers in this regional final in Region 2. Ball, Tamari Jones gets it over to Julian Larry. He penetrates into the lane, puts up a short jumper, off, no good, and Cameron Kahn will collect the rebound. Gets it over to Keyston Willis. Just a 2-point Wildcat lead. Willis had a big ball game against these Rangers last year. Gets the ball over to Xavier Cork, who had a good first quarter. Cork, a short jumper. It's off the iron, no good, but tipped out by Cameron Kahn. The Wildcats maintain possession. Nice play by Cameron to keep the ball alive. And now Willis over to Boo Wilkerson, who's now in the ball game for the Wildcats. They tried to get it into Cork, and there's going to be a defensive foul. Looks like it's going to be on Isaiah Lewis. So Lewis will pick up his first. I heard the PA announcer on that one. This is a non-shooting foul for the Wildcats. 5 team fouls for the Rangers, 4 for the Wildcats. So 7, you'll go 1 plus 1. Jeremiah Rowland with the ball for the Wildcats. Gives it over to Willis. He shoots a 3. It's off, no good. That may have been partially blocked. Here come the Rangers, down by 2. This is Isaiah Lewis. He'll shoot the 3. It's rattles off, no good. Fight for the rebound, and looks like it was lost out of bounds by the Wildcats. Somebody was kind of twisted down there trying to get that rebound, twisting around, and just couldn't get it under control. I think that was Willis. And so back to the Rangers, and Isaiah Lewis will trigger in. Wildcats leading 11-9. Ball all the way out to Julian Larry. Right side it goes, Isaiah Lewis. Lewis back out to Julian Larry. Left side it goes to Marvin Mims. And he works to Isaiah Lewis. Lewis penetrating in. Here's a Larry for the 3. It comes up short, but a rebound by Lone Star. They missed the follow shot. And now the Wildcats collect the rebound. Good job of rebounding by Jeremiah Rowland. He's a leaper, but he's in their land of the trees. Down to Cameron Kahn. Kahn gets it over to Day-Day Hall. Short jumper's good by Day-Day Hall. Wildcats leading 13-9. 6:22 left here in the second quarter. Out to Isaiah Lewis for the Rangers. And he drove in. There's going to be a blocking foul on one of the Wildcats as somebody tripped up Lewis. And it looks like Xavier Cork, and that is correct. First on Cork. Both teams have 5 fouls. And the ball triggered into Isaiah Lewis. Lewis will shoot the 10-footer. Good. Lewis has 4. And it's back to a 2-point game now. Wildcats leading 13-11. 6:04 and counting here in the second quarter. Jeremiah Rowland across the midline. Rowland on the dribble. Stops outside the arc. Down low to Day-Day Hall. He's double teamed a little bit. And puts up the jumper's good by Day-Day Hall. That's a couple of short jumpers that are good. Wildcats up by 4, 15-11. 5:44 left in the second quarter. Long 3 by Mims. It's no good. And Day-Day will let it go out of bounds wisely, and it'll go back to the Wildcats. Could have had a little help there, Wally. Wally the Wildcat and the cheerleaders down on the baseline. My brother's listening to me broadcasting today, so I'm glad that he's listening there. Randy, we're glad to have you in the audience. 5:30 here in the second quarter. And the Wildcats leading 15-11. Cameron Kahn down low to Keyston Willis. Willis lets the traffic go by and hits the reverse layup. Willis has 5 points. Here's Lone Star with a jumper. It's off, no good. Rebound, Day-Day Hall. Wildcats leading 17-11. 5:09 left here in the second quarter. Jeremiah Rowland looks inside. Lobs down low to Cameron Kahn. Kahn backing in. Turnaround jumper is off. No good. Follow shot is good. That's a Dadrian Day-Day Hall, who has 6. The Wildcats leading 19-11. 4:51 left here in the second quarter. Wildcats beginning a little bit of a spurt here. They've got an 8-point lead. They did this to Highland Park yesterday, and those guys just kept coming. Here's the ball over in the left corner now. That's Howard. Back out to Julian Larry. He will shoot the long three. It's off, no good. Big, long rebound. The Wildcats chased it down, but we're going to have a rebounding foul. And it may be, yes, he holds out a fist. That's on Day-Day Hall. And that is the second foul on Day-Day. Wildcats have 6. The Rangers have 5. And Lone Star, this is a non-shooting foul. Wildcats leading 19-11, 4:28 left in the second quarter. Julian Larry to trigger it in and gets the ball in to Howard. Howard headed to the basket, and then he threw the ball trying to get it to somebody. It was tipped around, and they said Wildcats touched it last. Some of the Lone Star fans rising in protest, but as it usually happens, that official's call on the court is going to stand despite protest. Jeremiah Rowland across the midline for the Wildcats, leading 19-11. Rowland looking inside, gives it to Willis. Willis passes back outside Day-Day Hall. Hall on the dribble, puts up the short jumper's good by Day-Day Hall. He's lethal from short range around the basket. Hall has 8 points all in this quarter, and the Wildcats are up by 10, 21-11 with 3:54 left here in the second quarter. Julian Larry outside with the ball. Gives it over to Isaiah Lewis. Lewis hands off to Malik Williams and back to Julian Larry. Lewis for the three. It's off the iron, no good. Goes into the corner. Lewis tries to save it. He threw it out there. It was tipped around, and Day-Day Hall ended up with a loose ball. That's what Clark Cipolletta calls a 50-50 ball. Somebody's got to go get it, and that time the Wildcats did. Cameron Kahn with the ball outside. Gives it over to Jeremiah Rowland. Down low to Day-Day Hall. He looks for a shot. Goes around his man. Laid it up. Missed it. Fight for the rebound. It's tipped, and Lone Star will come out of there with it. Williams. He gives it over to Lewis. Wildcats by 10. Just over 3 to play here in the second quarter. And the shot is up and missed by Isaiah Lewis. And a good rebound by Keyston Willis for the Wildcats. 2:55 left here in the second quarter. The Wildcats leading 21-11. Ball to Cameron Kahn. Kahn gives it over to Jeremiah Rowland. Back outside Day-Day Hall. Here's a lob. The pass was tipped. Kahn got it. Lays it up with the left hand. And Cameron Kahn has 5. And timeout taken by Frisco Lone Star. The Wildcats bench is on fire over there. The Wildcats 23 and Frisco Lone Star 11. 2:38 left here in the second quarter. We'll take the break with them, and we'll be back in a moment. .238 still left here in the second quarter. The Wildcats have had a really great quarter. They've scored 12 points and Lone Star 2. So a 12-2 run for the Wildcats gets them out to a 12-point lead here. And here come the Rangers. Ball in the hands of Julian Larry. Across the midline. Gives to Malik Williams. Williams outside the arc to Isaiah Lewis. Lewis penetrating in and kicking back to Williams. Right side it goes. Mims drives in. Passes down low. The ball tipped and stolen by the Wildcats. Here comes Willis. Willis moving fast. A backward pass. He missed the shot. Cameron Kahn missed the shot. It rimmed out. But he picked up a foul. A behind-the-back pass that was right on the money. My goodness. The foul was on... I didn't even know this player was in the ball game. But he certainly is. That foul was on Andrew Adigan. First foul on Adigan. Oh, there he is. Cameron Kahn will shoot a pair here. Cameron's free throw, good by Kahn. Kahn has 6 points in the ball game. That's his first foul shot. He's 1 for 1. We'll have another coming. Wildcats extend their lead to 13. They have had a jolly good second quarter here. Kahn eyes the bucket. Here's the free throw, is in and out, no good. We had a lane violation on the Wildcats. So that one, we'll just act like that one didn't get shot. Can't charge Kahn if one of his teammates was in the lane too quickly. Wildcats leading 24-11, 2:05 left here in the second quarter. Julian Larry across the midline for the Lone Star Rangers. Back outside it goes to Artigan. No, this is Mims. Mims driving in. The ball tip goes to Lewis. Lewis kicks it back to the free throw line. Adigan puts it up, missed the shot, but he drew a foul on the Wildcats. The official hitting his arm to say that he hit his arm. And that is going to be, I think, on Court. That's Xavier Court's third foul. And I'm sure Clark Cipolletta will get Cork out of there quickly. In fact, as we have, no, they sent Grayson McClure back to the bench. Clark Cipolletta was trying to get Clark to move to another position. He did not like picking up that third foul, or the coach kind of grabbing him there. Free throw is good by Adigan. Now Grayson McClure for Xavier Court, as they'll play 147 without the big centers. The Wildcats go kind of small now, very small in fact. Adigan's next free throw off the front iron. Boo Wilkerson picks it up and hands it over to Keyston Willis. Wildcats leading 24-12, 1:42 left here in the second quarter. Willis over to Jeremiah Rowland and back to Keyston Willis. Willis thought about the long three. His pass was tipped. He went back and got it. And now Willis left side, Boo Wilkerson. Boo down low to Cameron Kahn, storms to the basket, lets the player go by and puts it up and in. Nice play, Cameron Kahn. He's got 8. And the Wildcats are leading 26-12. 1:15, all that's left in the second quarter. Mims with the ball. He's looking for a three. Jeremiah Rowland, as usual, all over him. Here's Lewis with a three. It's up and no good. Lewis has had a cold day shooting. Here's Jeremiah Rowland across the midline for the Wildcats. Bounce pass to Cameron Kahn. Kahn over to Grayson McClure for the three. It's off, no good, and tipped out of bounds there by Isaiah Lewis. Literally put it in the cheap seats. Those are those ones back behind the basket. And it's got like 2 fans over there, maybe another 2 kind of hanging around. They look like officials or something that have to be over in that area. Grayson McClure will throw the ball in for the Wildcats, leading 26-12, 50.3, all that's left here in the second quarter. Way outside Jeremiah Rowland. As the clock ticks, the ball to Cameron Kahn, top of the key, right side, Grayson McClure. McClure gets it over to Rowland. 38 seconds left here in the second quarter. Cameron Kahn outside. Now Kahn gives it over to Grayson McClure. McClure back to Kahn. Cameron dribbling back outside Grayson McClure. 23 seconds left here in the second quarter. McClure, well, pass to Willis. Willis puts it up, missed the shot, tried to protect the ball with his body, missed the shot. Here comes Lone Star in a hurry. They'll put up a wild shot, no good. Cameron Kahn rebounded and was tied up. And a possession arrow to the Wildcats with 9.8 seconds left. Wait a minute, they called a foul on that. Not a tie ball, but a foul. And it is on Adigan. And that is his first. Cameron Kahn at the free throw line. He is 1 for 1. I'm not going to count that lane violation. Kahn eyes the bucket. Cameron ready to go. The free throw is good. He'll get another. Eyes the bucket was something I picked up from a great Sacramento Kings announcer named Gary Gerald. And if that name sounds familiar and you're a NASCAR fan, because Gary Gerald did a lot of NASCAR. Really great announcer. Kahn's next free throw, good. Got them both. Kahn a huge quarter. 7 points in the quarter, 10 in the game. The Wildcats leading in the final seconds, just 3 to go, and Lewis drives in. Mims will shoot a three at the horn. It's good. So Mims ended the quarter on a positive note on an otherwise bleak quarter where Frisco Lone Star only scored a grand total of 6 points. And so it's halftime, and the Wildcats are leading by the score of 28-15. A 6-point quarter for Frisco Lone Star. while the Wildcats were scoring 17. So they outscored them 17-6, and the Wildcats with a 13-point lead, even with that last three there by Mims, who is an exceptional player. He has 9 at the half. But we'll total up everybody's point total, and we'll let you know who scored what. But let's take a break right here. We're at the half. The Wildcats of Sulphur Springs 28 and the Frisco Lone Star Rangers 15. Now let's take that break, and we'll be back with more right after this. We are at the half here at the Curtis Colwell Center in Garland. The Wildcats of Sulphur Springs leading the Frisco Lone Star Rangers with a score of 28-15. Let's start with the scoring for the Frisco Lone Star Rangers. They were led by Marvin Mims. He hit the Wildcats for 16 points last year, and he's off to a good start in this ball game as he has 9. Had 2 threes, another basket, and a free throw. So he got 3 the old-fashioned way on that one with the and 1. So Mims with 9 points. 4 points for Isaiah Lewis. He had a pair of baskets. And 1 point apiece for Julian Larry. And 1 point for Andrew Adigan. Love that name, Julian Larry. My best friend growing up was named Larry. So, of course, I'm Julian. So there's Julian Larry. How about that for a stretch? But nice name. I like that, especially his first name. I went to high school with the guy that had a first name of Julian. He always told me that I had no better sense than to know that Julian was a first name and not a last name. So I remember him, Julian Mardok, wherever you may be. Okay, so that's the scoring for Frisco Lone Star. Now let's, he's probably a doctor somewhere. Seemed like he was a very smart kid. Let's do the scoring for the Wildcats now before I get totally distracted here. Cameron Kahn led the Wildcats 10 big points, had 7 in the second quarter and 10 at the first half. Day-Day Hall got all 8 of his points in the second quarter, so 8 points for Day-Day Hall. 5 for Keyston Willis, had a 3 in the first quarter, 2 in the second quarter. Always look for Willis to kind of take over in the third quarter. We'll see. And Xavier Cork had 5 points. Cork in a bit of foul trouble. He has 3 fouls. I believe he's the only player that I see on the board that has at least the 3rd personal foul. Of course, all the players are not listed, just the ones that were out there at the end of the second quarter. But Cork will be one to watch as he picked up his 3rd foul with about less than 2 minutes to play right there at the end of the second quarter. So that's the scoring for the Wildcats. Of course, the winner gets the big prize behind door number 1, and that's the trip to San Antonio, Texas, the Alamo Dome. Doesn't that sound familiar with Wildcats football fans? But the Alamo Dome, the site of the state tournament. Let's don't count our chickens, though. We've still got a big half to go, and I remember how good this team was coming back last night against a great Lancaster team, ranked number 1 in the state. And Frisco Lone Star was down by 7 at the half, and they were also way far behind in the second half and came roaring back and hit some big shots at the end. Really, it was basically a 2-point game, but after a big basket, I think a technical foul was called, and they were able to tack on some extra points as Frisco Lone Star beat Lancaster 60-56 last night in the other half of the twin bill after the Wildcats had defeated Highland Park by the score of 51-46. A great Sulphur Springs crowd. Sulphur Springs, once again, take off your hat to yourself. A great, great crowd here in the gym. A lot of them right now, of course, in the restrooms and concession stands, but they're an awesome sight over there as they have completely filled 2 sections, and they're just spreading all the way around to other sections as well. A tremendous crowd of Wildcat fans on this Saturday following their team. Hope a lot of them can make it down to San Antonio. I know that's my understanding. I'll have to kind of refresh this, but my understanding the semifinal state games will be on Thursday with the final next Saturday from the Alamo Dome. And again, I am not sure of any times or anything. I have not bothered to get that far into everything because I've been strictly concentrating on the present. And the present right now has the Wildcats up at the half, 28 15. Let's take one more break here. We'll come back with the start of the third quarter as the Wildcats leading Frisco Lone Star by the score of 28-15. And we'll be back to start of the third quarter right after this break. Well, about another minute or so, plus some change before we get ready for the start of the third quarter. Several Wildcats out getting a few extra shots in. Xavier Cork's down there, Jeremiah Rowland, and also Keyston Willis, who kind of hanging around the bench area. Talking to Brandon DeLords, the assistant coach, doing a great job over there for the Wildcats, for Clark Cipolletta, along with his other assistants, Philip Manning, and also a guy that we do not usually talk about, Joey Chastain. He's kind of in a, you heard of when you want to be a teacher, you student teach and do that sort of thing. Joey is helping Clark Cipolletta out. I think it's a part of a education assignment. So I know Clark is very glad to have Joey. He's also the SAC teacher at the high school. Takes care of that group. And the Wildcats are just now breaking the huddle. Frisco Lone Stars out there with Julian Larry, also Isaiah Lewis. They've got Malik Williams. And the big guys there, Zaire Brock is back out there. Wildcats Jeremiah Rowland, Cork, Willis, Kahn, and Day Hall. So we get ready for the start of the third quarter. Ball comes into Cork and back to Jeremiah Rowland. Wildcats up 28-15 as we start the third quarter. Xavier Cork, top of the key, playing with those 3 fouls. Cork outside Jeremiah Rowland. Rowland drives in. Oh, the ball was tipped and it's going to go out of bounds. Isaiah Lewis was trying to get that ball and streak down to the other end, but it made its way out of bounds, hopped over the scorer's table. Back to the Wildcats. 7:44 left here in the third quarter. Wildcats up 28-15. Keyston Willis with the ball for the Wildcats to Xavier Cork. Cork. Willis will shoot the 3. It's off, no good. Rebound by Isaiah Lewis. Long pass down into the corner. Mims drives in. The shot looked like it was tipped. Fight for the rebound, and Mims came up with it with those quick hands. He sails it back around the arc. And Lewis will shoot the 3. It's off, no good. And Day Hall clears the boards for the Wildcats. And a foul. Looked like Jeremiah Rowland collided. No, they're going to say Cork. I think he said 1-3. That is the 4th foul on Xavier Cork, as he must have collided with Zaire Brock, and they call Cork for a foul. That's his 4th. So Clark hits the bench, and in comes Boo Wilkerson. Now, Boo's 6 foot tall. The Wildcats just gave away 9 inches of height, so they'll play a little short here. A shorter team, anyway. They still got Kahn and Day in there. Big fellows, 6'5", 6'6". Here's Julian Larry driving in. So contact and a blocking foul. Oh, my. Cameron Kahn cannot believe that. He does not always get credit for those taking the charge. Again, Kahn showing I had my hand straight up. I took the block and got called for the block, and that happens often as Kahn gets probably deserves about twice as many fouls. And Clark Cipolletta in that official's ear after that call, I know he disliked. Free throw is good by Julian Larry. Always a controversial call, the blocked foul. And you're going to, I would say half the gym, but today you just made about 70% of the gym unhappy with a big crowd of Sulphur Springs. Larry hits both free throws and makes it an 11-point ball game, 28-17. Ball got away and went out on the court, so now it's rounded up and will be given back to Jeremiah Rowland as Frisco Lone Star begins to press. Ball in the hands of Jeremiah Rowland. Now everybody falls back except one player, Malik Williams, who's guarding Jeremiah Rowland. Rowland across the midline. Rowland will hand off. No, he will keep the ball toward the basket, laid it up and missed it, and the rebound to Frisco Lone Star. And here comes Mims. Malik Williams, a 3, in and out, no good. Rebound, Jeremiah Rowland. He'll run for the Wildcats. Rowland down the court. Now he slows down a little bit and passes in to Cameron Kahn. Kahn spinning around, turnaround jumper missed, and looks like a foul on one of the Rangers. Zaire Brock picks up his 3rd foul. Big guy's in trouble. Xavier Cork on the bench with 4, and that's Brock's third, and he has not played that much. He played early in the first quarter, picked up 2, hit the bench. Short appearance here, and he's got his third. Free throw, Cameron Kahn off the front iron. Wildcats look kind of a slow start here for the second half. I hate to see that because that usually means a run for the other guys, so let's hope that doesn't develop into that. We'll see. A lot of different roads this thing could take. The free throw is good by Kahn, as he is 4 out of 5 from the free throw line. Wildcats leading by 12, 29-17. Isaiah Lewis went into the lane. Looked like he may have walked and then collided with one of the Wildcats and got the blocking foul. Cameron Kahn, boy, again, the Sulphur Springs crowd raining down boos on the calls going against the Wildcats. Second foul on Cameron Kahn. Ball comes in, and Isaiah Lewis at the free throw line kicks it back out. And Julian Larry will back out of there now with Keyston Willis guarding him now. Ball comes over. Now they've got Jeremiah Rowland guarding Mims. He goes around the screen, Mims does, drives in. His short shot was partially blocked, tipped to the backcourt. Willis has got it ahead of the field, and he will lay it in for the easy 2. Do not try to stuff it. Keyston said, I'll just take a nice, easy basket. Wildcats by 14, 31-17, 5:50 left, third quarter. Ball back outside to Julian Larry. He gets it over to Williams and back to Larry. Larry penetrates into the lane, puts up the shot, missed it, and the ball tipped over to Cameron Kahn, who bounced it off of Zaire Brock. And the official says Wildcats ball. And Jeremiah Rowland will come in there to throw the ball in. The official shows him exactly where to throw that ball in. Into Boo Wilkerson and back to Jeremiah. 5:33 left here in the third quarter. Wildcats leading 31-17. And Rowland across the midline. Passes to Day Hall. Hall outside the arc. He begins a dribble. And hands off. Willis will shoot the 3. In and out. No good by Keyston Willis. Rebound by the Rangers. And here they come down by 14. 5:13 left here in the third quarter. Williams a 3. It's good by Malik Williams. His first basket in the ball game. And that trims the lead to 11, and timeout taken by Clark Cipolletta. Wildcats 30 and Frisco Lone Star, Wildcats 31 and Frisco Lone Star 20. And we'll take a break here, and we'll be back in a moment. Teams just now coming out of the huddle. Wildcats will have the ball. Looks like Lone Star. Well, they're all gathered in the backcourt right now. Now, one is going back to watch Day, and the rest of them are pressing. So Frisco Lone Star now pressing down by 11. Wildcats usually very good against the press. Ball comes into Boo Wilkerson. Wilkerson in the backcourt gets it over to Keyston Willis. Wildcats up by 11. 5 minutes left to go here in the third quarter. Willis passes to Day Hall. Hall over to Jeremiah Rowland and to Cameron Kahn. Willis has the ball. He free throw line down to Cameron Kahn. He lays it up and in. What a beautiful assist by Keyston Willis. 13 points for Kahn. Wildcats up 33-20. Here's a shot just inside the arc. No good. Good rebound, Keyston Willis. Wildcats 33. Frisco Lone Star 20 with 4:32 left here in the third quarter. Willis down low to Day Hall. Hall backing in on a much shorter player. His short jumper in and out, no good. And then a nice rebound by that short player, Marvin Mims. Mims down court quickly, gets it over in the corner, threw it away, has tried to get it over to Andre Howard and threw the ball where he couldn't get it. He tried to save it, unable to do that. And back to the Wildcats leading 33-20, 13-point lead with 4:15 left here in the third quarter. Keyston Willis with the ball in the backcourt for the Wildcats. And Willis across the midline, stops, gets it over to Day Hall, top of the key. Day dribbles, gives it back to Willis. Willis to the free throw line, outside, Kahn slashing in. Got it outside, Rowland. He thought about the 3, now he's backing off, gets it over to Cameron Kahn. Wildcats in no particular hurry. Gets the ball over to Jeremiah Rowland. Rowland driving in his shot. Miss, no good. Fight for the rebound. Comes down to the Rangers, and they'll run. Howard coming down. Nobody stopped him. The Day Hall goaltended. Try to get the ball out of there, and the basket will count by Andre Howard, his first basket. Actually, let's see. No, looks like they gave that basket to Julian Larry. Boy, I did not see that. Wildcats leading now 33-22. 3:30 left here in the third quarter. Day Hall moves toward the basket. Short jumper's good. Boy, Day-Day's been lethal near the basket. He's got 10 points. 3:20 left here in the third quarter. The Wildcats up 35-22. There's a three by Frisco Lone Star. No good. Boo Wilkerson the rebound. Gets it over Jeremiah Rowland and over to Keyston Willis in the backcourt. Here come the Wildcats up 35-22. Just over 3 to play here in the third quarter. Willis around a Kahn screen and continues to work around Kahn. Oh, now he tried to look like a pick and roll, and that was not thrown where Kahn could get to it. So a little malfunction on the execution on that one. It'll go back to Frisco Lone Star. Wildcats 35 and Frisco Lone Star 22. 2:55 left here in the third quarter. Julian Larry with the ball. Gives it to Isaiah Lewis. And Mims, a long three. Good. Nothing but net by Marvin Mims. He's got 12 points. That's his first basket here in the third quarter. Cuts the lead to 10 at 35-25. 2:33 left here in the third quarter. Rowland across the midline. Rowland goes around the Kahn screen. Gives it to Day Hall. Hall over to Boo Wilkerson. Wilkerson over to Kahn. Tried to get it into Day. Day fought to get the ball back. Rolls from the basket and laid it up and in. 12 points for Day Hall, and he picked up a foul. He didn't get the foul. He caused somebody on Frisco Lone Star to get the foul. A hit in the head, the officials say. I love when they show that. They just make it look like they just, and Day would probably say, yeah, he hit me pretty good. Day Hall from the free throw line, +1 here, and good for Day. Hit some huge free throws down the stretch against Highland Park last night. 38-25, 13-point Wildcat lead. 2:12 left in the third quarter. Lewis with a three, no good. Keyston Willis with the rebound. And here come the Wildcats up by 13 with just over 2 to play here in the third quarter. Ball over to Cameron Kahn. Kahn outside, now begins a dribble. Stolen by Julian Larry going into the basket all alone, and he lays it up and in. And Larry now has 7 points, 6 in the quarter. Day Hall with the ball for the Wildcats. They're up by 11. Wilkerson over to Kahn, tried to fire it inside. It was stolen by Isaiah Lewis. Here's Mims on the layup. He hit the bucket, and Kahn compounded the felony by, after the pass was stolen, he fouled a player that Mims had a pretty good angle on the basket. So that cuts the Wildcats lead down to 9 points. And Cameron Kahn with his third foul. Timeout taken by the Wildcats. And we have 1:32 left here in the third quarter. Wildcats of Sulphur Springs 38 and Frisco Lone Star 29. Let's take a break here and we'll be back in a moment. Wildcats of Sulphur Springs 38, Frisco Lone Star 29. Free throw coming now for Marvin Mims, who has 14 points. Far and away the leader for Frisco Lone Star. And we still got 1:32 left in this third quarter. Frisco Lone Star, so at this point, outscored the Wildcats by 4 in this quarter. Mims, a free throw is off, no good, but a rebound by Frisco Lone Star, but they lost it. And Day Hall picked up the loose ball up in the air, and he goes across the midline. Right side over to Jeremiah Rowland. Cameron Kahn, top of the key. Kahn will hand off Boo Wilkerson. Outside Day Hall. Hall over to Cameron Kahn. Goes to Jeremiah Rowland. 1:11 left here in the third quarter. Day Hall backs out. Now begins a dribble toward the basket over into the corner. Rowland for three. Off the iron, no good. Rebound Frisco Lone Star. And here comes a new player in there. He's been in there before, Tamari Jones. Gets it over to Howard, and back outside Julian Larry, who starts everything for this Lone Star team. He drives toward the basket. He puts it up and hit it. Nice play by a junior player. And the lead now 7 at 38-31 with 36 seconds left here in the fourth quarter. Cameron Kahn across the midline. Right corner it goes. Jeremiah Rowland. Outside Day Hall. Hall on the dribble. Gives it over to Cameron Kahn and over to Jeremiah Rowland. Back outside Day Hall. 19 seconds left in the quarter. The Wildcats up by 7. The Frisco Lone Stars made some ground in this quarter. Day toward the basket. Sends it over Wilkerson outside. Ends up Cameron Kahn for the three. It's off. No good. Day Hall, the rebound. Follow shot is good by Day. With just seconds left, Julian Larry will put up a shot partially blocked and no foul. So the Wildcats will take a 9-point lead into the fourth quarter. After three, the Wildcats of Sulphur Springs 40 and Frisco Lone Star 31. Let's take a break and come back with an exciting fourth quarter right after this as the Wildcats lead by 9. Back in a moment. Well, 8 minutes from somebody going to San Antonio, unless we play overtime here. Wildcats leading 40-31 as we enter the fourth quarter. Frisco Lone Star with the ball here. Start of the fourth quarter. Isaiah Lewis. He drives in and he would travel before he traveled on the move there. Keyston Willis had reached in and scraped it loose, but that was the travel took place first. Goes to the Wildcats. They lead 40-31 with 7:52 left here in the fourth quarter. The ball thrown in to Keyston Willis. Willis, Kahn, Wilkerson, Rowland, and Day Hall. And Willis goes around the Kahn screen. He's outside over to Day Hall outside the arc over to Boo Wilkerson. Wilkerson outside to Kahn and over to Jeremiah Rowland. His pass tipped and he got it back. And now gets it over to Day Hall. Hall over to Boo Wilkerson. And back outside Cameron Kahn. Gets it over Jeremiah Rowland. Day Hall outside the arc. A whistle blows. And what do we have? A foul, a holding foul on one of the Lone Star players. That's the second foul for Isaiah Lewis. So a non-shooting foul here. Wildcats have 4 fouls and Lone Star 3, so they're away from any bonus. Day Hall backs in. Shot is up and good. Once again, Day with a great game today, 17 points. And the Wildcats are up now by 11 points, 42-31. 7:06 left here in the fourth quarter. I'll tell you who made a prediction on Hall having a great game today, and I'll tell you when I get a chance. Frisco Lone Star drives in, misses a shot. Good rebound by Cameron Kahn, and he gets it over to Jeremiah Rowland. Here come the Wildcats. Down to Willis, slashing to the basket, and he is fouled again by Isaiah Lewis. Willis, hope he's okay, boy. We were watching his every move. He's looked great here. Nothing's happened. He came up with kind of gathering himself to try to walk off whatever. He kind of got hit pretty hard there by Lewis, who picked up his third. And Keyston Willis at the free throw line. Willis' free throw is good. Willis has 8 points. He scored a little bit in each quarter for 8. Lewis, checking out is now Tamari Jones. And here's a free throw. Willis got both of them. He's got 9 in the game. The Wildcats are up by 13, 44-31 with 6:46 left here in the fourth quarter. Here's Isaiah Lewis. Lewis penetrating in and got the foul, I think, from Cameron Kahn, again, who's showing, hey, I went straight up. But a foul was called, and it was called on Willis, Keyston Willis. And that's his second. Free throws for Isaiah Lewis. 6'6" senior, a fine member of this Ranger team. Free throw is good. He's, I'm sure, one of the stabilizing forces for this good team that is 26-10 on the season and who took care of the #1 team in the state last night in this gym. They beat Lancaster. Now they're playing number 4. Here's a free throw. He got them both, Lewis did. He's got 6 in the game. And the Wildcat lead trimmed to 11 at 44-33. Jeremiah Rowland. And let's see what we have. And Julian Larry picked up the foul. That's his third. And so now the Wildcats get it into Keaston Willis. Wildcats leading 44-33. 6:35 left here in the fourth quarter. Rolling over in the corner, Boo Wilkerson. Wilkerson dribbles and gets it out to Cameron Kahn. Kahn will try to get rid of the ball there, gives it over to Day Hall. Hall slashes toward the basket, gives it over to Boo Wilkerson. Back outside Kahn. Kahn down low to Willis. Willis lets the traffic go by and hit the layup. Smart play by that senior. 11 points, Keaston Willis, and the Wildcats are up 46-33. 6 minutes left to play in the fourth quarter. A shot put up by Julian Larry and blocked by the Wildcats. And they get the rebound, and here comes Keaston Willis across the midline to Day Hall. Hall slashing into the lane, outside Kahn, into the corner. Boo Wilkerson down low to Day Hall. Hall spins to the bucket. Lots of contact and foul down on the floor on Frisco Lone Star. Boy, they're calling it closely now to try to make sure this game, that's the second foul on Howard, make sure that this game stays under control here. Jeremiah Rowland to trigger in as Xavier Cork will now check in for Boo Wilkerson. And they're either giving Boo a great hand, which they should, or they're glad to see Cork back. Either way you want to interpret that. Crowd stood and cheered. Probably for Boo. He's a popular player. Jeremiah Rowland. Well, now lobs it. There's nobody there, but Day Hall will streak over there to get the ball. And knocked loose right when Clark Cipolletta called timeout. So timeout taken by the Wildcats. 5:40 left here in the fourth quarter. The Wildcats with a 13-point lead at 46-33. Let's take the break with them, and we'll be back in a moment. Boys basketball, don't miss the UIL Boys Basketball State Tournament March 7th through the 9th at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio. Tickets are available to purchase now through Ticketmaster. For more information, visit uiltexas.org. Now back to play here, 5:40 left here in the fourth quarter, and the Wildcats are up by 13 at 46-33. Ball in the hands of Day Hall, top of the key. Hall dribbles, he's double teamed, passes it back across to Jeremiah Rowland, almost at mid-court. Rowland stops, gives it over to Xavier Cork, top of the key. He's being guarded by a player much shorter. Cork toward the basket, dumps off Day Hall, who slams the ball to rock the rim. Let's see, we may have had a foul before the dunk. And wave off the basket, and a foul. And on one of the Lone Star players, so the basket waved off. Marvin Mims got his second foul, and Xavier Cork will now have to earn them from the foul line. See if Cork has been to the line today. Yes, he is 1 for 3. That was way back in the first quarter. Cork's free throw, good. Nice free throwing by Xavier Cork. I tell you what a project this player was as a freshman. He just looked like you thought, man, he's tall, but I don't know if he'll ever amount to anything. But my goodness, Xavier Cork has turned into a tremendous player that's going to be playing some college basketball somewhere. Hit both free throws, 7 points for Xavier Cork. And the Wildcats are up now 48-33 by 15 with 5:15 left fourth quarter. Julian Larry drives in, reverse layup is good. Nice play by Julian Larry. He's got 11. Ball gets away. Rowland had to chase it back behind the basket. Lobs in to Keaston Willis. 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and the Wildcats are up by 13. Down to Cameron Kahn. Kahn toward the basket. Down low, Xavier Cork, and he stuffed it. Boy, that's what the Wildcats can do to you on the press. They'll get you right out of that press. Here comes Julian Larry back down. A shot off the glass, no good. Follow shot, no good. Cork fights for the rebound, comes up with it, gives to Willis. Wildcats up 50-35. 4:37 left here in the fourth quarter. The crowd roaring and standing in some cases. They're enjoying this one in the Curtis Colwell Center in Garland. Keaston Willis, the regional final. Winner of this goes to the state tournament. And Cameron Kahn on the dribble outside. Kahn working against Williams. Got it over in the corner. A blocking foul on somebody with Frisco Lone Star. That's their 8th foul. This will be 1 plus 1. It's the 3rd foul on Marvin Mims. A 1+1 for Cameron Kahn. Kahn 4 out of 5 from the free throw line. Had a good day there. Eyes the bucket. Free throw is, in and out. No good. Have to make the first one. Here come the Rangers. 4:10 left. Julian Larry drives in and hit the basket. Kind of lazy defense on the Wildcats that time. Larry with 13, and that trims the Wildcats lead to 13 at 50-37. Day-Day Hall with the ball. He's working in the backcourt. Working against Mims. A behind-the-back dribble. Day-Day down the floor and tried to get it over in the court. Knocked out of bounds by Isaiah Lewis. And Cameron Kahn will go chase that one down and help the official there. 3:49 left in the fourth quarter. The Wildcats up 50-37. Clark Cipolletta looking good in that suit today. Both coaches Natalie attired. There's the ball out to Cameron Kahn. I think his alternate number, though, is shed the coat. Ball over to Day-Day Hall. Hall gives it over to Keyston Willis. 3:38 left here in the fourth quarter. The Wildcats up 50-37. Xavier Cork bouncing the ball outside, gets it over Day-Day Hall. Hall way out almost midcourt, begins a drive, and quickly Mims picked up another foul. That's his fourth, I show. And let's see if the scoreboard agrees. Yes, they do. Mims with 14 points. And again, 1+1, yes. The next foul will be 2 shots on any foul, but this is 1+1. Day-Day will have to earn the second by making the first. He's got 17 in the ball game. And we're going to get rid of some moisture now as off the floor, and officials call for that towel who used the foot method. The common foot method, especially the older an official gets, you don't like to do all that bending, and I certainly subscribe to that. Do the little bit of bending as I can get away with. Day-Day Hall with a free throw. 1+1. This one on the way. In and out, no good. Wildcats could be tacking on some points. That's a missed opportunity. Ball to Howard. Sends it over to Williams. Here's a long three. Julian Larry, and then lost out of bounds, but a save back in by Frisco Lone Star, but right to Keyston Willis. 3:10 left here in the fourth quarter. The Wildcats leading 50-37. Keyston Willis with the ball. The Wildcats in no particular hurry at all. Willis outside, being guarded by Howard. And Willis continues to dribble, gets it over to Cork. Cork outside the arc. Now he's guarded by Howard as they changed players there on the defense. Now a handoff to Cameron Kahn. He headed to the basket, and Kahn all the way to the basket and hit the driving layup. He did that very nicely against Highland Park also yesterday. 52-37, Julian Larry steams down the court and will pick up the foul on Jeremiah Rowland, I believe. If that's the case, that is the very first foul on the Wildcats' best defender. That's doing a great job. No, it's the third foul on Day-Day Hall. I thought 2 shots coming for Julian Larry. He's been their best player in this quarter. He's got 13 in the game and 2 baskets here in the fourth quarter. Larry's free throw hit the front iron and fell in. Good shooter's touch by Julian Larry. 6'2" junior. We've seen him for the last 2 years. Again, he scored 6 points against us last year. Free throw on the way. He got them both. He's had 6 points in this quarter, has 15 in the game. Timeout taken on the court. 2:37 left here in the fourth quarter. The Wildcats at Sulphur Springs 52 and the Frisco Lone Star Rangers 39. We'll take the break with them and we'll be back in a moment. We're in the fourth quarter here from the Curtis Colwell Center in Garland. Wildcats are leading Frisco Lone Star 52-39. There's 2:37 left here in the fourth quarter. Wildcats have the ball underneath their own basket, and so Jeremiah Rowland to trigger it in. And Frisco Lone Star again pressing just out of a necessity, not because they've done much of a good job with it. Keyston Willis over to Jeremiah Rowland, and Rowland back to Willis, and he will still not get over the line now. Finally Rowland over to Xavier Cork. Cork dribbling out, though, and hands off to Rowland. They went for the steal, Lone Star did, but did not get it. Back to Cork. They're very desperate for that basketball right now. Cork on the dribble, gives to Keyston Willis. Willis dribbling outside. Julian Larry all over him, trying to get the steal. Goes around Cork, then got it over to Cameron Kahn. He threw it back toward Cork, and not a good pass to Cork, and he could not get to it. He had a good idea, but just not well executed. Turnover on the Wildcats. 2 minutes left here in the fourth quarter, and the Wildcats lead 52-39. Ball comes in. Julian Larry will let the ball just roll. That keeps the clock stopped at 2 minutes. Now Julian Larry driving toward the basket, stops over in the corner. Williams, and back to Larry. Larry drives in, stops and pops. No good, and a good rebound, Xavier Cork. And Cork dribbles out of there with the ball and got fouled. Wait a minute. They say Cork just fouled out of the ball game. A chorus of boos from the Wildcats fans on that call. Clark Cipolletta, I don't think he can believe the call, but he says, well, okay. Xavier Cork picks up his 5th foul. Needless to say, did not go over very well with the partisan crowd on the far side. And the crowd gives Xavier Cork a big hand. He shakes Coach Cipolletta's hand. And now here's Frisco Lone Star with the ball. I have no idea what Cork did. There's the ball down low. Isaiah Lewis puts up the shot and missed it, and Keyston Willis for the rebound. 1:36, all that's left here. The Wildcats leading 52-39. Keyston Willis across the midline. He's double teamed. Willis driving, tried to pass it out of that trap and out of bounds off of Frisco Lone Star. They wanted the ball. Julian Larry, and now we get a consultation, and they're going to reverse the call. That'll go over well with that Sulphur Springs crowd. Not already too happy about the Cork foul, and then official came in there and reversed that call and gave it back to Frisco Lone Star. Wildcats leading 52-39, just 1:23 left in the fourth quarter. Julian Larry outside, penetrates in, drives toward the basket, bumps, put it up, missed it, threw the foul on Keyston Willis. He'll shoot 2. That is, I think, the 3rd foul on Keyston. That's what I show and what the scoreboard shows. So Julian Larry to shoot 2. There's 1:16 left, and the Wildcats leading by 13 points. Julian Larry from the free throw line. He had 1 point at halftime. He has really turned it on, hit that free throw. See what he's got in the game. 16 points, so he has scored 15 second half points. Did not do much in the first half, but he has been the man for the Rangers in the third and fourth quarter. And he's got 7 points, make it 8 here in the fourth quarter. Hit both free throws. 11-point game at 52-41. 1:16 left here in the fourth quarter. Keyston Willis with the ball. Gives it to Grayson McClure, a former point guard. He gets it back to Willis. Willis has also played the point. Back to Grayson McClure and over to Jeremiah Rowland. Back to Keyston Willis outside. 1:02 left in the ballgame. The Rangers are going to have to foul here. Keyston Willis outside. Willis dribbles around a con screen, stops, gets it over to Jeremiah Rowland. It's stolen by Lone Star. They tipped it and stole it. Here they'll shoot a 3 in transition. It's good. Made by Marvin Mims, the 3. And boy, here come the Rangers, sort of, as they're back to within 8. The Wildcats 52 and Frisco Lone Star 44. And 45.6 seconds, all that's left in the ball game. We'll take the break here. Back in a moment. Well, we got a text from Eric Buck, one of my great broadcast partners. I enjoyed him on softball. We did some volleyball together, baseball. And Eric Buck listening today. Eric, glad to have you as one of those listening streaming. One of the Wildcats and Lady Cats great assistant coaches. He's just always a mainstay. Wildcats get it into Willis now as we've got to burn off 45 seconds. Have an 8-point lead. Grayson McClure don't want to get caught by 10 seconds. And I think a foul maybe just in the nick of time there on one of Frisco Lone Star's players. I guess for Eric, I should have said a Lady Cat assistant. But he was always a great help to whoever the head coach might be when he was around. Timeout is taken on the court. The Wildcats leading 52-44, and with just seconds remaining here, and we'll take the break with them back in a moment. Wildcats leading 52-44. Just 37.4 seconds remaining here in the fourth quarter. Wildcats have the ball in their back court. They're on the side right in front of the Lone Star bench as Grayson McClure triggers into Keyston Willis, and he quickly picks up two players, tried to drive between them, and whistle blows, and have a Lone Star foul as Willis split the defenders, and he'll be shooting two shots. That was the fourth foul on Isaiah Lewis. And Keyston Willis, who has had 11 points in the ball game, shooting a pair of free throws, good on the first. He's 3 for 3 in this quarter. Pretty good guy to have at the free throw line late in the game. Willis, really clutch free throw shooter. Boo Wilkerson back in, replacing Grayson McClure. And Willis with another free throw. Got them both. Wildcats leading 54-44, 10-point lead, just 33 seconds left. Here's Julian Larry, a three is good. And timeout quickly taken by Frisco Lone Star as they cut the lead to 7. They are charging. It looks like they're just going to run out of time. At least Wildcats fans hope so. 29.5 seconds left here in the fourth quarter. Wildcats leading Frisco Lone Star 54-47. Let's take a break here. Back in a moment. 29.5 left here in the fourth quarter. Wildcats by 7. Grayson McClure back in now to trigger the pass in to Day Hall, and they'll foul him immediately. I'm sure they brought in Tamari Jones just for that foul. That was his first. And so Dadrian Day Hall back to the foul line. Looks like he is only 1 out of 2 today, and he will be shooting 2 shots as the Wildcats in the double bonus. And so Sadadrian with a chance to pad that 7-point lead. There's still 28.6 seconds remaining in the ball game. They need these foul shots, and got that one. Start missing foul shots, they start hitting threes. That 7-point lead can disappear pretty fast. Isaiah Lewis and Marvin Mims check back in. Boy, those guys are lethal. Very good three-point shooters. Another one coming for Hall here. He's got 18 points. And Day got them both. Good foul shooting, Day Hall. The Wildcats by 9. 27 seconds left in the ball game. Julian Larry drives all the way down, and that was way too easy. Larry's having a huge fourth quarter now. Cuts the lead to 7, and once again they'll foul Day Hall with 18.7 seconds remaining. I think that was Williams that picked up the foul. And Malik Williams, that's his first. And again, Day Hall, 19 points in the ball game. Ties the bucket. The free throw is off the front iron. He'll get another. Wildcats leading by 7, 56-49. They've got to play better defense than they did on Julian Larry. They just let him drive and lay that in. He got the second free throw, did Day Hall. And here comes Julian Larry again, steaming right for the basket. He'll stop and pop from 3. Oh, that was an air ball, went out of bounds. So that'll go back to the Wildcats. That may just about put a bow on this one. The Wildcats are cheering now that they can smell San Antonio. No offense, Alamo City. 12.9 left here in the fourth quarter, and they pass the ball into Day Hall, and immediately they foul him again with 12 seconds left in the ball game. Wildcats leading by 8 now, 57-49, but Day Hall with a couple more free throws. He hit huge free throws last night against Highland Park to keep them at bay late in the ball game. That and a big basket by Cameron Kahn, and earlier in the quarter, threes by Keyston Willis. And Day missed this one. Day has missed, I believe, 2 out of his last 3, but he'll have another here. Chance to get to 21 points. And this free throw, good, Day. 9-point Wildcat lead, 58-49. Julian Larry down the court, puts up the shot and got the basket. The Wildcats leading by 7, 58-51. As that's a ball into Grayson McClure, and the Wildcats are going to state as they have defeated Frisco Lone Star by the score of 58-41. And the players jumping up and down on the court. Coach Clark Cipolletta right in the middle of that. And the Wildcats really enjoying this. Grayson McClure going over to the bench. I think he's consoling Xavier Cork, who was not real thrilled about being over there on the bench when all this was happening. And now Cork is getting involved in this celebration for the Wildcats. And they're going through the line, shaking hands with each other after a hard-fought game. And you always love to see this sportsmanship involved. I tell you, if they can do it in ice hockey, which is one of the most brutal sports there is, they can certainly do it in a basketball game. But the Wildcats win, and they are headed for the state tournament. 58-51, a 20-point fourth quarter for Frisco Lone Star. The Wildcats had an 18-point quarter, so they didn't lose a whole lot. I don't know that Frisco Lone Star got to within maybe about 7 points in that fourth quarter. Keyston Willis slapping his hands together. How happy is he to be out there after he missed 7 district games, and he was really iffy for the playoffs. Finally cleared to play that first playoff game. He attended practice on Friday before they played their first game on Tuesday. So that was cutting it real close. And let's face it, he may need some surgery at the end. It did not exactly heal the way it was supposed to, a little fracture in the ankle. And he still was able to play, and he showed no signs of any kind of problem with that ankle. They're going to present the trophy now, and the trophy presented to Mike Lamb, and Lamb is showing Sulphur Springs that trophy. Fans, of course, standing and roaring, and he pointed back to the basketball team and said, "These guys right there, they're the ones that did it." We're having an announcement now. They're congratulating Frisco Lone Star on finishing second in this regional tournament. And what a great year those guys. They came in as Cinderella, and now their coach turns their players toward their crowd. There's their second place trophy here in the tournament. And their fans stand and applaud a great season by Frisco Lone Star as they finished 26-11. And they knocked off the Jolly Green Giant last night. Lancaster beat the #1 team in the state, 60-56, right on this court. And those players and that coaching staff, they will never forget that victory. Now they turn our attention back to the Wildcats. Looks like more picture time here as I see Isabel Reyna down there. Chad's video, he's down there getting some stuff, I do believe. And the Wildcats are posing for pictures. Won't do Doug a lot of good. Now Mike Lamb handed that trophy over to Keyston Willis. And Willis holding that thing high there. Doug's getting them from behind. We're on the visitors' side. But they're posing for those fans over there that made the trip. And now they're getting some shots here. And fans really enjoying this. This is, you attend sporting events, and how many bad Sulphur Springs basketball games did you attend in the years past only to see a team do what this team has done? Clark Cipolletta has had 3 tremendous basketball seasons, and none as big as this, none in school history. You can go back as far as you want. A trip to the state tournament. They'd never even been, I don't know that they had been much out of area. And they surpassed that last year. They made the 3rd round against Prosper. And then this year, they go all the way to the regional tournament. They'd never done that before. The Lady Cats are right here in this gym 5 years ago. Desi DeBase and that wonderful crew of hers, Coach Jeff Chapman team. They lost in the very first game, but they made it here. And that was always a high water mark of Coach Chapman's coaching career. As once again, everybody just kind of hanging out. Now some of the fans beginning to hit the exit. The crowd will give them. I see Cameron Kahn going up to the stands and slapping some hands up there with as many fans as he can. Maybe some of the other players will begin to do that over there as they can. You have to be on the first row to get that kind of treatment, I think, because these players are down on the floor, but they're doing the best they can. But Wildcats win this one by the score of 58-51. Let's send it back to James Terry to do some business. We'll come back and tell you who scored what as the Wildcats of Sulphur Springs win the regional tournament 58-51. They'll be going to San Antonio, and we'll tell you a lot more about it. I'll tell you everything I can find, as I'm sure regions all over Texas are beginning to determine their champion. And the winner of Region 1, 2, 3, and 4 will be going to the Alamo Dome in San Antonio, and the action will begin next Thursday, and the final game will be a week from today in the Alamo Dome. Doesn't that sound familiar? Didn't we play a big football game? Yeah, we did. Of course we did. Let's take the break here. We'll come back and tell you who scored what. Wildcats defeat Frisco Lone Star by the score of 58-51. We'll be back in a moment. Well, it looked like they just took another picture and had Mike Lamb in there with members of the Wildcats coaching staff in there. I believe that was the group, as the Wildcats win this one 58-51. Let's give you the scoring for, first of all, from the Rangers of Frisco Lone Star. 24 points for Julian Larry, that 6'2" junior. We've seen him the last 2 years and had a big ball game, especially in the fourth quarter. He scored 15 points in that fourth quarter. 17 for Marvin Mims. He had 16 against the Wildcats last year. 6 points, Isaiah Lewis. 3 points for Malik Williams, and 1 point for Andrew Adigan for the 51 for Frisco Lone Star. They scored 9, 6, then they scored 16 and 20. So they had a big fourth quarter, but the Wildcats just about matched them. All right, for the Wildcats, they only had scoring from 4 different players, believe it or not. Sadadrian Day Hall led all scorers with 21 points. Cameron Kahn had 15, Keyston Willis 13, and 9 for Xavier Cork. So that was it, but that was enough for the Wildcats, as their quarters 11, 17, and then 12 and 18. And the Wildcats win by 7 over Frisco Lone Star, 58-51. The Wildcats are now 29 and 8 for the season. A great season. That's what they announced their record. I don't know where they get that. I can show them every win the Wildcats have this season and every loss. And I defy anybody, and I still do this. I've had nobody take me up yet that has found one that I've missed. So I continue to say they are 28 and 8, and I'll guarantee it. If you see 30 and 8 or something on Max Preps, they counted 2 games twice. They counted a Mansfield Lake Ridge game twice and a Tyler Lee game twice. Why, I don't know. But the Wildcats win this one 58-51. Let's go ahead and wrap it up here, as nobody but just good friends. A lot of people still hanging around as they are loving the atmosphere here of this win. James Terry running spots back at the station. Doug Haston did the engineering for us today. Also shot video. You'll be able to see tape delay replay of this one, and boy, who would want to miss it? As a great one here. You know, watch the Wildcats win their way to San Antonio as they have defeated Frisco Lone Star 58-51. That'll be coming up as soon as Doug can get it together, and you'll also get to see some of that Highland Park game. That was already on this morning. I hope you saw that. It was actually on, looked like it was coming in around coach's show time. We had to cancel the coach's show, and we'll probably do again next week as if we end up in San Antonio. But that's we've got to make those plans and do all that kind of stuff and make sure we can again, cross the T's and dot the I's. I'm Don Julian with your play-by-play for this one. I know we've gone on a little bit, but it's not every game that you do as an announcer when your team qualifies for the state tournament in basketball. And I'm Don Julian with your play-by-play. Once again, our final score, the Wildcats of Sulphur Springs 58, the Lone Star Rangers of Frisco 51. Thank you so much for joining us today, and so long, everybody.
And thank you, Don. You guys did a good job. You've been listening to Wildcat Basketball here on KSST, your official Wildcat and Lady Cat station, 1230 a.m., Sulphur Springs, Texas.